Hello and welcome everybody. Today is a very exciting day because I am talking about Junie B. Jones. I read every single Junie B. Jones book. They are just as delightful and funny as I remember them being as a kid, and I would really love to tell you about them. I didn't stop at just the books though. I also want to walk through the plays, the bus tour, the websites, games, and finally, printable activities. There is so much to talk about today, so let's jump right into it. Barbara Park's writing career started with a Hallmark card. She had given herself 2 years to make it as a writer, and that was her first sale. Her real breakthrough, though, was when she was given a copy of Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing by Judy Blume. After reading this, it just clicked, and Park realized she wanted to be a children's author. By 1991, Park had published 11 books already and was an established author. She was approached by Linda Hayward, an editor at Random House, with an opportunity to make a 4-book series. Hayward was working on a project called First Stepping Stones. These were books aimed at 1st to 3rd graders, and they were kind of a mixture of a picture book and a chapter book. Although Park wasn't sure she was going to be able to write about the same character for 4 books without it getting boring, she still accepted the job. Inspired by her wild child character, Molly Vera Thompson, Junie B. Jones was created. The combination of Park's delightful storytelling and Denise Brunkis's wonderful
illustration,
they really made something magical. What was supposed to be a 4-book series turned into 32 that sold over 65 million copies. Like so many kids, I grew up with Junie B. She's loud, she's funny, she's opinionated, and so sweet at heart. Whether you're revisiting these books or just discovering them for the first time, I am gonna tell you so much more than you want to know. Before we jump right into talking about all the books, I want to explain a couple basics. Our main character is Junie B. She is 5 in kindergarten and 6 in 1st grade. She has a language of her own. The books are written from her perspective. She is easily scared, which gets her in a lot of her adventures. She sticks up for herself and doesn't back down from a fight. She doesn't understand figures of speech and is also extremely fashionable. Junie B's family is her mother, Susan, daddy, who is Robert. I will be calling him Dad for this video. Her baby brother is named Ollie. She's got a dog named Tickle and a grandma and grandpa Miller. Junie B's parents get extremely irritated whenever Junie B needs attention or is scared. Junie B will also frequently call her grandparents by their first names, and Grandma Helen Miller does not want to be called Helen. In kindergarten, Junie B's best friends are Grace and Lucille. Grace is Junie B's best friend in kindergarten and is basically the only normal one in these books. Lucille is extremely rich and she loves to show it off. She commonly talks about how expensive her clothes are. Some other important characters are the antagonists. Polly Allen Puffer is a kindergarten classmate who is usually the culprit when Junie B has a new fear. Meanie Jim is the kindergarten antagonist. They fight in class all the time and on the bus. And May is the 1st grade antagonist. Some common jokes and tropes that you find in these books are one that I mentioned before. Junie B doesn't understand figures of speech. We'll see this in Junie B. Jones and a Little Monkey Business when she believes her little brother is an actual monkey because her grandma says he's the cutest little monkey she's ever seen. Junie B does not tolerate people forgetting the B in her name. She does not want to be called Junie or Junie Jones, and she will correct you. Junie B will frequently define words. I have collected a lot of them while I was rereading these. I created a Junie B. Jones dictionary. I'll show a couple of the things that I did with that. When an adult rolls their eyes, Junie B will also look up at the ceiling and realize there's nothing up there. Junie B also frequently writes songs and stories in her head. In the example I picked, she says she sings a happy song called Dunking Teddy Up and Down and Putting Shampoo on That Guy. These books have a really charming cadence because of the way Junie B speaks. It's going to be difficult to really get that fully across throughout all of these book reviews, so I put in a little section for a taste of basically the flow of the book. This morning I woke up very excited because today we're having kindergarten field day at my school. That's why. I couldn't stop shouting that happy news. That's the main basics, so let's hop right into it. The first book comes out in July 1992, and it's Junie B. Jones and the Stupid Smelly Bus. We meet Junie B. getting ready to go to school for the first time. She starts with the same opening line for all of the kindergarten books. My name is Junie B. Jones. The B stands for Beatrice, except I don't like Beatrice. I just like B, and that's all. She makes it very clear early on that you cannot forget her B. Junie B. went to Meet the Teacher Day last week, where she got to see her classroom and meet her teacher, Mrs. Junie B. comes in wearing her devil horn hat that her Grandpa Miller got her, and shoes that are shiny because she licked them. She claims a red chair that will be taken by Lucille later on and learns about the school bus. Junie B. is not looking forward to riding the school bus. When the first day of school comes, it's everything that she feared. It's hot, it's noisy, and it smells like an egg salad sandwich. The door folds too, and if it closes on you by accident, it will cut you in half and you will make a squishy sound. The bus is also full of meanies like Jim, who yells at Junie B. just for touching his backpack. The whole bus experience was so overwhelming that Junie B.'s eyes get wet, but she's not crying because she's not a baby, and that's why. At school, Junie B. gets trampled on her way off the bus and she meets Lucille. Lucille is rich. We will learn this well throughout every single one of these books. After doing some work and getting a tour of the school, Lucille reveals more information about the bus. According to her brother, older kids will pour chocolate milk on your head when you ride the bus home from school. This scares Junie B. enough to hide when it's time to go home from school. She starts under the teacher's desk and then eventually goes to hide in a supply closet. After taking a short nap in the supply closet, Junie B. finally emerges to find out that there is nobody left at the school. Junie B. plays with some clay in the supply closet and then she moves on to the teacher's desk. She plays teacher with some chalk and gives herself a gold star right on her forehead. After getting thirsty from the chalk dust, Junie B. exits the classroom, gets a drink at the water fountain, and heads to the media center. In the media center, she stirs a fish tank with a pencil and breaks a pencil sharpener with crayons. After this, she heads to the nurse's office, where she takes a bunch of band-aids and steals the nurse's sweater. She also plays with some crutches that are way too tall for her, and she ends up falling. After falling on the crutches, Junie B. decides that the nurse's office is dangerous and she leaves. Junie B. starts running around the school a little bit before she realizes she needs to use the bathroom. Every single one of the bathroom doors are locked, so naturally, because she's having an emergency, she needs to call 911. Emergency vehicles arrive and the janitor finds Junie B. The janitor that finds Junie B. is Gus Valoni, by the way, and he's a king. After finding out what's going on, he takes Junie B. to the bathroom. When she comes out of the bathroom, she is greeted by emergency workers, her teacher, her principal, and her parents. They explain to her what she did is very wrong and she worried a lot of people. On the way home from school, Mother comforts Junie B. by trying to convince her that she won't get chocolate milk poured on her head on the way home. Mother also finds Junie B. a bus friend for the next day. It's that Grace, who Junie B. learned at school that day. Junie B. and Grace's mothers talk on the phone. They decide for the two girls to sit together, and Junie B. decides she might like yellow a little bit more tomorrow. In February 1993, Junie B. Jones and a Little Monkey Business comes out. Tonight at the Jones household, dinner has taken an unexpected turn. Junie B.'s parents announce that they have a big surprise. Junie B. takes this to mean that she'll be receiving a present, so she starts looking through the house for it. She soon discovers that the surprise is a new baby sibling. Junie B.'s insistence for a present frustrates her mother, and she ends up owing her an apology. Junie B., however, thinks that Mother owes her an apology for such a disappointing surprise. As the parents prepare the rainforest-themed nursery, Junie B. explains cribs to the readers. Cribs are just like a zoo cage, except for the baby won't pull you in and kill you. She offers a few name suggestions for the baby also. She suggests Gladys Gutzman, which is the name of her snack lady at school, and she thinks this name is extremely cute. She also suggests Teeny for the baby, and when it grows up, it can be Big Teeny. The night the baby's born, Junie B. stays with Grandpa Miller. This is wonderful to Junie B. because no one is even babysitting them. Grandpa Miller smokes a cigar in the house in this one. Him and Junie B. eat a big fat lemon pie for dinner and decide they'll blame the missing slices on their non-existent cat. The next morning, Grandma Miller returns with news about the baby. She gushes that he's the cutest little monkey she's ever seen. This baby is named Ollie, by the way. We find that out in the next next book. Between hearing that and the nursery, Junie B actually believes that her baby brother is a real-life actual monkey. At school, she shares her big news at show and tell, explaining that it really is a monkey, and he has long fingers and long toes, and he's got oodles and oodles of black fur. Jim calls her a liar, and Junie B insists that he can ask her grandma. We meet Ricardo. He says that monkeys are cool and smiles at Junie B, which means they're dating now. Recess becomes a bidding war between Lucille and Grace. They both want to be the first one to meet the monkey brother. Junie B gets Lucille's locket, then she gets a real genuine fake plastic diamond ring from Grace. Junie B also gets both their snack tickets, Lucille's sweater, and Grace's pink high-top shoes. Mrs. notices all of Junie B's new stuff immediately and makes her give it back. Junie B is also sent to the office to talk to principal. The main office is where the principal lives, and the principal is a baldy. At the principal's office, they clear up the misunderstanding about the monkey brother. Principal calls grandma on the phone, where they explain to Junie B that cutest little monkey just means she thinks the baby is cute. At the end of the school day, mother picks Junie B up with the baby. Junie B can't help but admit he's the cutest little monkey she's ever seen. I just need you all to look at this picture of Ricardo. Look at those boots. He's so cool. I love him. In August 1993, we get
Junie B. Jones and her big fat mouth.
The trouble starts at kindergarten when Mrs. explains they're going to be having job day. All the kids will dress up as their dream future career. Junie B has no idea what career she wants to have, so she declares she's just going to have to flunk kindergarten. Jim pipes up about this, and Junie B threatens him with a knuckle sandwich. When Lucille brags about always being a little lady, Junie B threatens to knock her on her can. This earns Junie B punishment, which is when you sit alone at a big table, people stare at you, and you feel like PU. At recess, a dejected Junie B is sitting in the grass playing with an ant and a stick. After spotting the janitor, Gus Filoni, painting litter cans, she notices 2 cherry lifesavers in the grass. She blows the germs off and puts one in her mouth, only for Gus Filoni to come speeding over to her. He makes her spit it out and explains to her how dangerous it is to eat something off the ground. Back in class, there are 2 guest speakers showing off their careers. One is a cop and the other is a dentist. The kids get to play with a helmet and handcuffs, and Junie B shows off her wiggly tooth to the dentist. On the bus ride home, all the kids are talking about job day. Gathering ideas from the kids around her, Junie B decides she wants to be a combination of a painter, a prison guard, and a superhero. Jim says there's no such job that exists, and they get into an argument. At home, Junie B starts screaming about her job day crisis and wakes up Ollie. His pacifier goes missing, and when Junie B uses the flashlight to look for it, she ends up shining her flashlight on Ollie's big fat screaming mouth. Mother is horrified but forgives Junie B when she finds the pacifier and cleans it off like Gus Filoni told her to do. Cleaning something off the ground makes it click for Junie B. She gets the inspiration she needs for job day. On job day, the kids all arrive, all dressed up. Lucille is an expensive princess, and Jim is a kung fu karate guy. Junie B reveals her choice to be a janitor, and she gets laughed at. Mrs. steps in to defend Junie B, telling her how important janitors really are. Junie B explains how being a janitor combines all her job ideas because they paint litter cans, carry keys like a prison guard, and save people from danger. The book concludes with Mrs. inviting Gus Filoni to the class, and he shows off his job to the kids. Junie B says proudly that Gus Filoni is her bestest friend. In May 1994, Junie B. Jones and Some Sneaky Peeky Spying is published. Junie B loves to spy in this one. She's banned from spying at home after jumping out of a laundry basket and scaring Grandpa Miller when she sees him take his dentures out. That does not stop her though. She really wants to spy on her teacher, Mrs. She especially wants to hide in Mrs.'s hamper. At school, Junie B is talking to Lucille about teachers' houses being secret when Mrs. makes an announcement. It's gonna be Grandparents' Day. They will have freshmans, which is cookies and a beverage. Junie B volunteers her mom to make the cookies for just a slight chance of getting to drop them off at Mrs.'s house. Mrs. house? When Mrs. tells Junie B she can just bring the cookies to school, Junie B decides that Mrs. is a secret mystery guy. At home, Junie B shares her curiosity about Mrs. with Grandma Miller. Grandma Miller warns that curiosity killed the cat, which sends Junie B into a spiral about a squished neighborhood cat that was probably killed by an ice cream truck. When Mother arrives, she tells Junie B that they will not be stalking Mrs. at her house. At the grocery store next day, Junie B is still very grumpy. She gets a talking to outside the grocery store, but when she comes back in, she sees Mrs. and a man. Junie B sneaks around to spy on her teacher even though she's not supposed to, and she sees two horrible things. One, Mrs. kisses the mystery man, and it's a big smoochy kiss. Second, Mrs. eats a couple of grapes without paying for them. This sends Junie B into turmoil because once she ate a couple marshmallows out of the bag at the store and learned that eating is the same as stealing. If she tells her parents what she saw, Junie B will get in trouble for spying. If she tells the store guy what Mrs. did, Mrs. could probably go to jail. She keeps her mouth shut to avoid the secret slipping out. At dinner, when Junie B is being extra quiet, Grandma Miller asks if the cat got her tongue. The secret becomes too much the next day at school. Lucille warns Junie B that if she keeps a secret, pressure will build up and her head will explode. This prompts Junie B to run straight for the nurse's office to get band-aids to hold her head together. The principal gets involved and Junie B accidentally lets it slip about Mrs. and the grapes. Mrs. comes up and explains that she was just testing the grapes, but she should have gotten permission to do it. She tells Junie B that she was right to worry and teachers aren't perfect. Junie B then admits she saw Mrs. do a big smoochy kiss. At class, it's Grandparents' Day and all the grandmas and grandpas are there. Lucille's Richie Nana, who is a moneybags, is also there. Jim's grandma is there too, and Junie B ends up hugging Jim's grandma when Jim won't. She tells her, "I hate your grand boy." While showing off the art on the wall to all the grandparents, Junie B says everyone makes mistakes. Even Mrs. kissed a man and stole grapes. The whole class goes silent and Mrs. doesn't say anything either. Junie B asks Mrs. if the dead cat got her tongue, and then everyone laughs and it's all fine. Junie B does end up getting in trouble for spying on her teacher, but she decides at the end that she still wants to hide in Mrs.'s hamper. Junie B. Jones and the Yucky Blucky Fruitcake comes out in September 1995. Let's get ready for Carnival night. At home, Grandpa is babysitting Junie B. and Ollie. Junie B. climbs up on the fridge after explicit instructions not to and has to be brought down by Grandpa. She goes on to make her own breakfast of cereal with orange juice in it, which is very delicious, except it's about to make me puke, I think. Grandpa gives her fruit instead, which she eats in front of the TV to avoid sitting on a phone book at the table. The phone book she has to sit on because she's too small hurts her behind. All morning, Junie B and Grandpa play games and she wins a lot of them. Since she's the bestest winner ever, Junie B challenges Grace and Lucille to contests at school. Her winning streak ends with Grace and Lucille beating her at both games. It was really sweet to see Lucille so happy and childlike during the hopping race. She's always focused on being rich, that she doesn't do like kid stuff, so it was really cute. In class, Mrs. announces Carnival night. It'll be a magical evening put on by the PTO members that will feature everything from a moonwalk tent to throwing sponges at Principal's face. Excited by the idea of hundreds of prizes, Junie B prepares with at-home training. She drops clothespins in a bucket, she putts around a grapefruit, and creates a toilet flood with sponge throwing practice. When Mother tries to lecture her that winning isn't everything, Junie B barely listens. She's got her eyes on the prizes. At Carnival night, Junie B fails miserably. She loses every game, she gets scared by a clown, and drops her ice cream. By the time she gets to the sponge toss, Jim starts teasing her, so she smacks him right in the face with her sponge. Junie B tries to escape after this by running right into the moonwalk tent. She throws her patent and leather shoes right outside the door. After Dad catches her, they're about to leave in disgrace, but Junie B is still missing one shoe, so they can't leave yet. Dad allows Junie B to go try the cakewalk. The cakewalk is a bunch of numbers on the floor, and then a cake lady plays a song, and when she stops the song, she picks a number, and if you're standing on the matching number, you win a cake. Junie B wins the cakewalk, and she's allowed to pick out her very own cake. Against all advice, she picks the fruitcake. She thinks she loves fruit, and and the aluminum foil wrapping makes it very mysterious. After Junie B sees the cake, she thinks it's rotted and it's extremely heavy. It's so heavy that if she drops it on Lucille's head, it could kill her, and also it will squish her legs into flatties. At home, the cake reveals its true purpose. Junie B sets it on a chair at the table and sits on it, realizing that it does not hurt her behiney at all. It's much better than the phone book and is the most usefulest cake she's ever heard of. At bedtime, the fruitcake is displayed proudly on Junie B's bookshelf. She shines a flashlight on it and declares herself a lucky duck for winning that thing. In April 1996, Junie B. Jones and That Meanie Jim's Birthday comes out. This one is about birthdays. It begins when Polly Allen Puffer has a birthday celebration in class, and it reminds Junie B about how much she loves birthdays. Her excitement wears off quickly on the bus ride home when Jim starts bragging about his upcoming Old MacDonald themed birthday party. He's gonna have a petting zoo and a pony. Junie B shoots back about how ponies will stomple you to the ground and kill you to death. Because of that, she won't go to his party in a jillion billion years. Once she finds out that the party is on Saturday and the whole class will be invited except for her, she suddenly wants to go. At home, Grandma Miller advises Junie B to ignore Jim's teasing, and Grandpa Miller tries to cheer her up with a special toilet fixing day. It's one of Junie B's favorite activities, but she decides she can't do it because she has to move away in embarrassment. At school the next day, all the kids are waving around their invitations to the party. Junie B attempts to steal Crybaby William's invitation, but Mrs. quickly catches her and makes her give the invitation back. Junie B even tries to get Lucille to boycott the party with no luck. After forcibly turning Jim's fatty head when he won't stop staring at her, Junie B gets sent to the principal's office. The principal sorts out that Jim was supposed to invite her all along, so Junie B does get an invitation. On Saturday, Junie B has to find Jim a present. Her and her mom pick out a tool belt, but Junie B immediately falls in love with the thing. She brings the tool belt up into her room, she practices hammering walls, screwing screws, and she twists her teddy's nose off with pliers. When it's time to take a bath and leave for the party, Junie B barricades herself in her room and hammers pretend nails in the door. This doesn't work and her parents come in. Junie B complains that the party is ruining her whole Saturday. She had to go shopping just to give a gift to a boy she doesn't like, and now she has to take a bath on her dirty day. In the end, her parents convince her it's not sad to spend the day doing something fun instead of spending your time on a kid you don't like. Her parents end up taking the tool belt back to the store, and Junie B gets to go fix the toilet with Grandpa Miller. Junie B. Jones Loves Handsome Warren comes out in October 1996. This one starts with a rescue mission. Junie B and Grace bravely chase a strange boy away who is running around with Lucille. Unfortunately, this is not a stranger boy. This is Handsome Warren, and he's the handsomest new boy in room 8. All three girls are smitten, and Junie B says, "Wowie wow wow, what a chunk." Lucille stakes her claim and forbids both the other girls from stealing her boyfriend. Junie B, however, comes up with a creative strategy to be introduced to Handsome Warren. She insists to Lucille that both her and Grace are big pigs, so they could never steal a boy from beautiful Lucille. Grace plays along and says, "I am a giant stink hog." This ruse works, and Lucille introduces the girls to Handsome Warren. At recess, Junie B blows it by laughing hysterically and getting called nutball by Handsome Warren. The nutball comment bothers Junie B a lot. On the bus, Grace confirms the nutball accusations by comparing Junie B to her little brother Jeffy. He is a sugar-eating cereal monster, and he needs to be leashed at the mall. To try to not come off as a nutball, Junie B gives all her sugar cereal to Tickle and eats fiber cereal for her own breakfast. At school the next day, Grace and Lucille are showing off their fancy clothes to Warren. Junie B joins them and tries to excitedly show Warren how calm she is. This earns her a little cuckoo from Warren. That night, remembering Lucille's expensive dress and Grace's lightning bolt sneakers, Junie B realizes she needs princess clothes. She tries to get her mother to go to the mall, but she won't, and she tells Junie B that you're not gonna make friends by your fancy clothes. They're gonna want to be your friend because you're nice and caring and fun to be around. This isn't satisfying to Junie B, so she creates a DIY princess clothes outfit from stuff around the house. She ends up wearing a jeweled dog collar collar, long princess gloves, a Dairy Queen crown, and red velvet shoe bows. She draws lightning bolts on her shoes also, just like Grace's. The next day, Junie B goes to school in her princess clothes. Warren is sitting alone and won't talk to anyone. When he snaps at Lucille and Grace for bothering him, both of them declare he's not their friend anymore and they walk away from him. Junie B keeps trying to show off to Warren, eventually sitting down next to him and finding out that he misses his friends from his old school. Junie B ends up taking off all her princess accessories and tells knock-knock jokes to Warren. This makes them both laugh hysterically and they call each other nutballs. June 1997 brings us Junie B. Jones has a monster under her bed. It's kindergarten picture day. Junie B is wearing her Tyrannosaurus Dottie dress and gets ready to have her picture taken by the Cheese Man. Right as the Cheese Man is taking her picture, Junie B demonstrates a face that Grandpa Miller made in a picture, and her school pictures get ruined. It gets worse during the class photo where Polly Allen Puffer shares horrifying monster information with Junie B. He tells her that there's a monster under everybody's bed, and at night the monster comes up and practices fitting your head in its mouth. The drool on your pillow when you wake up is monster drool, and moms and dads sleep in the same bed to protect each other from the monster. When Junie B makes a sick face at this information, the Cheese Man snaps the class photo. At school, no one can reassure Junie B that monsters aren't real. Her best friend Grace can't even do it because Grace's sister told her that monsters turn invisible when you look at them. Because monsters turn invisible, you can't even tell for sure if it's there or not. At home, Grandma tries to comfort Junie B with the promise of eating popcorn. Junie B's happy feet popcorn dance is quickly interrupted when she realizes the monster under her bed is looking at her little sausage toes. At night, Junie B can't sleep. Even with the help of her plushies, Larry, Ruth, and Philip Johnny Bob, she can't relax. Tickle is no help either. Eventually, Junie B makes her way to her parents' bed, only to be marched back to her room with the "you're in trouble so my teeth are gritted close" voice. I feel so bad for her in this scene. She's just scared. The next day, Grace offers Junie B a monster solution. Grace's mom apparently vacuumed up Grace's monster and then put it in the trash compactor to make the monster a flatzo. Grandma tries to do this for Junie B, but they don't have a trash compactor, so she has to use her car to make the monster a flatzo. Junie B is not satisfied with it not being a trash compactor. The resolution to Junie B's monster problem comes when the school pictures come back. Junie B is so embarrassed of her bad pictures that she hides them in her coat until she gets home. Soon she realizes her pictures could scare the pants off of a monster, so she puts them under her bed, and there you go. In June 1997, we get Junie B. Jones is not a crook. Junie B has a new pair of mittens. They're black furry fur, and Grandpa Miller bought them for no good reason. Junie B loves them, and she wears them to school with her attractive winter jacket, even though it isn't even cold out. After shoving the mittens in her classmates' faces, Mrs. confiscates them. The mittens are returned to Junie B before recess, where she plays horses with Grace and Lucille. Soon it gets too hot to run around in mittens and a coat, so Junie B leaves them next to a tree. Tragedy strikes when the mittens disappear. Mrs. brings Junie B to the principal's office to look for them in the lost and found. Junie B learns two things at the lost and found. 1, bring items in that you find, and all day long you'll wear a grin. 2, there's a teddy bear backpack in there, and she wants it very, very much. Principal doesn't let Junie B take the backpack, and she doesn't find her mittens. On the way back to class, Junie B finds a beautiful multicolored pen at the water fountain. She debates bringing it to the lost and found. You're supposed to bring things back and you'll wear a grin, but the pen makes her grin, and her mittens got stolen. And also, she couldn't take the backpack, so it's fair and square. At home, Grandpa learns about the missing mittens. Grandpa tells Junie B a story about someone returning his lost wallet and not taking anything out of it, even though they could. The wallet is precious to him because there's a picture of him and baby Junie B in it. Junie B then wrestles with her own morals on if she became a crook or not for taking the pen. The next day, Junie B finds the mitten crook. It's a pink fluffy girl who skips by wearing them. After a short confrontation with Mrs. involved, the girl explains she found the mittens in the grass. Junie B gets her mittens back, and she also has a change of heart and brings back the multicolored pen to the lost and found. She decides finders keepers isn't the rule, and she is not a crook. In September 1997, Junie B. Jones is a Party Animal comes out. In this one, we start on the bus with Junie B and Grace. hours. They spot Richie Lucille's Richie Nana in her big gold Cadillac, driving alongside the bus. When they get to school, the car is still in the parking lot, so the two girls run over there and hop inside. Junie B and Grace appreciate the ooh la la velvet seats, and Lucille gets mad at them. After Nana leaves, it's revealed that Lucille was begging for a poodle before the two of them showed up, and Nana probably would have given it to her if they didn't come interrupt. They hatch a plan for Grace and Junie B to come spend the night at Richie Lucille's Richie Nana's house under the guise of helping Lucille beg for a poodle. The sleepover is approved, and Junie B is given a long list of guidelines. Most importantly for the plot, she is told no jumping. Although she doesn't have much to work with, Junie B agrees to the rules. On Saturday morning, Junie B packs a bag. She stuffs a giant plastic bag with everything from PJs to an attractive throw rug, and makes sure to cut air holes for her elephant Philip Johnny Bob. Her mom helps her repack, and she impatiently waits for 3 p.m. when Richie Nana is gonna come pick her up in the big gold Cadillac. After Nana arrives, the girls get into asking for the poodle right away. Nana says no, and we don't hear about the poodle ever again. At Lucille's mansion, Grace and Junie B get to see how rich Lucille is. She gives them a tour of the whole house and sings a song called See, I Told You I Was Rich. They hang out for a while before Nana brings them a box of old ball gowns to play dress up in. Dinner time is a disaster. Junie B drops a crystal glass, she drops a franc on the tablecloth, and she drops a plop of ice cream on her chair. After dinner, the girls go to play games, and Lucille brings them to jump on a big fluffery bed. A pillow explodes into feathers, and Nana loses her mind. After the girls peep their heads off, after Nana tells them not to make another peep, they eventually get to sleep. In the morning, Nana feeds the girls with some fancy French cereal bowls. Junie B doesn't want to break anything, so she settles for a banana. Mother comes to pick Junie B up soon after, and they make a detour to Grandma Miller's house. While Junie B eats her pancakes and drinks out of a plastic cup she's not gonna break, she decides that she loves her regular Nana much more than a Richie Nana. In June 1998, we get Junie B. Jones is a beauty shop guy. Junie B wants to change her name to Pinky Gladys Gutzman. Pinky is the cutest color she ever saw, and Gladys Gutzman is the cutest name she ever heard of. Gladys Gutzman is her snack lady. We've mentioned this one before. When Dad says the name is too long, Junie B writes it on a name tag. Unfortunately for Junie B's parents, who don't seem to enjoy being around Junie B very much, she's got to tag along for Dad's haircut appointment. At the appointment, Junie B decides she wants to be a beauty shop guy. She helps Maxine, a real beautician, during her dad's haircut. She sneezes onto a towel and brooms her broom into a lady before she gets it confiscated and they leave the beauty shop. At home, Junie B begins her beauty shop training. She gives her bunny slippers a haircut, who sadly say, "We're baldies." She hides the slippers all weekend, hoping the hair will grow back. It does not. At school, after the weekend, Junie B gets the idea to be a shampoo girl instead from Grace. At home, Junie B gives her teddy a shampooing in the bathroom sink. She hides this too. Soon, Tickle gets a haircut of his own when Junie B realizes that dog hair will grow back. She cuts his hair until it's choppy and moppish. This gets her in a lot of trouble, and she gets her scissors taken away. The next day, Junie B is still undeterred. While Grandpa babysits, she retrieves her extra pair of scissors from her desk and gives herself her own haircut. She tries to even out her hair until she's left with sprigs, which is shorty little sticklets. To try to avoid getting caught, Junie B wears a ski mask, a shower cap, and her devil horn hat to school. At school, Mrs. pulls Junie B into the hallway and takes off her hats, revealing her secret. Mrs. lets Junie B wear a hat during school that day to avoid getting made fun of, using the reason that Junie B just has the sniffles. After school, Dad brings Junie B to get her hair fixed up at the beauty shop. I am obsessed with this artwork of short hair Junie B. It is so cute. At the end of the book, Junie B reveals she has yet another pair of scissors, and she still wants to be a beauty shop guy. Junie B. Jones' Smell Something Fishy comes out in August 1998. Pet Day is coming up at school. These kids, who are in kindergarten, can bring pets if it's in a cage or a bowl. Cats and dogs aren't allowed, so if someone has one of those, they can just bring a picture. Unfortunately for Junie B, bringing a picture is boring. She tries to get a pet idea from Grandma Miller at home, but she says she doesn't have any other pets besides her bird, Twitter. Junie B does not like Twitter. When Grandma Miller jokes about catching the crazy raccoon that keeps breaking into her garage, Junie B, of course, takes this seriously. The next day, Junie B brings a fishing net outside to try to catch a raccoon. Just then, Grandma and Grandpa Miller show up to borrow a cooler for their fishing trip, and Grandma has to break the news that she was just kidding about the raccoon. To try to make Junie B feel better, she gives her an earthworm. Junie B is unhappy with this worm until Mother makes a habitat in a jar. Junie B names him Noodle and decides he needs friends after he spends the day hiding in the dirt. Outside, Junie B catches 3 ants holding a cheese puff and a fly that she swatted, but it's okay because it didn't even die that much. In the evening, Grandma and Grandpa Miller come back with the cooler. Inside the cooler is water and ice with a fish floating around in it. Junie B names this fish Sparkle and starts swimming him around in the cooler. She grabs a dog leash and slides him all around the floor. She decides she wants to bring Sparkle for show and tell, but it gets shut down by all the adults. Grandma Miller takes Sparkle back while Junie B is in the bath, earning her the name Thief of Sparkle. On Pet Day, the classroom is full of animals. There's fuzzy guys, there's fish, and Meanie Jim's rooster who can peck your head into a nub. Lucille prances around in an expensive riding outfit and shows a picture of her pony. Polly Allen Puffer brought his parrot, Pirate Pete, who gets sent to the office for cursing. Junie B brings a fish stick. She is confident it's a real pet because it's a fish. Mrs. confirms this by looking up the dictionary definition of a pet, which just has to be a tamed companion animal. Fish stick qualifies and wins the ribbon for most well-behaved pet. May 1999 brings us Junie B. Jones is almost a flower girl. Junie B is a bachelorette after Ricardo dumps her. He says it was fun being her boyfriend, but it's time for them to chase other people. He is chasing new Thelma in room 8. Junie B becomes determined to be a grown-up lady when her parents tell her she's too young to have a boyfriend. They tell her she should be footloose and fancy-free. Junie B misunderstands this and says her feet are not loose. It's soon revealed that Aunt Flo is getting married. When Grace and Lucille hear this news, they gush about their experience being flower girls. The girls decide Junie B will be the flower girl for Aunt Flo's wedding, and they teach her how to do the job. After school, Junie B makes a secret phone call to Aunt Flo to break the news. Aunt Flo has to reject her because Joe, Flo's groom, has a little sister, Bo, who will already be doing it. Junie B gets in trouble for making this call, but Aunt Flo offers Junie B a spot in the wedding anyway. Junie B will step in as alternate if Bo gets sick, and she will get a seat at the bridesmaids table. Mother gets Junie B a beautiful wedding outfit with golden puffery sleeves and shiny gold shoes. The night before the wedding, Junie B wishes on a star for Bo to get sick. When Mom says you can't wish for someone to get sick, Junie B wishes for Bo to just get head lice instead. Neither of those happen, and Bo is present on the day of the wedding. During the wedding, Junie B tries to swipe some flower petals from Bo's basket when she walks by, which leads to a little tuggle. After the wedding, Aunt Flo has Bo and Junie B make up, and they're friends for the rest of the book. Junie B tries to show that she's a grown-up lady to Bo, but she quickly realizes it's much more fun to be little. She takes off her tights and shoes, realizing that her feet are loose. She puts it all together and plays with Bo for the rest of the reception. At the end, Dad picks up Junie B, and she realizes grown-up ladies don't get carried, so being little is better. Junie B. Jones and the Mushy Gushy Valentine comes to us in December 1999. It's time to get ready for Valentine's Day, because this is the Valentine's Day episode. The kids are going to exchange Valentines in class. Each kid needs to bring in 17 Valentines, even if those kids are big, fat, stinky heads. The class works together to decorate a big box to put the Valentines in. Once everyone brings them in, they'll have a party with punch and candy hearts. At home, Junie B gets her Valentines. She picks out one carefully for each of her friends and gives Jim a stinky skunk card. She's the first one to bring her Valentines into class on Monday, so she negotiates her herself a prize of broken chalk and a rubber band from Mrs. Lucille brags about her professional printer-made cards with Cupid lollipops on them, each one signed "Love and Kisses from Lucille." She believes her fancy cards and preciousness will make her the most popular and she'll automatically get the most cards. This gets her in a spat with Grace and Junie B about who is going to get the most cards. On the day of the party, Mrs. passes out the Valentines. The girls dump out their Valentines and the counts are in. Lucille has 17, Grace has 17, and Junie B only has 16. Just as Junie B starts interrogating her classmates on who broke the rules, Mrs. discovers an extra card at the bottom of the box. It's a gorgeous lace-trimmed mushy gushy Valentine addressed to Junie B from a secret admirer. The boys in class are then questioned by Junie B, who uses a strategy of saying wink wink to them because she can't actually wink. She doesn't discover who the sender was until recess, when she runs back into the classroom for her card and sees Jim holding it. We find out it was him who sent the card and has a crush on Junie B. The two agree to keep their friendship secret so they can continue teasing each other in class. Jim tells Junie B that she keeps room 9 sparky. They fake zap each other before getting caught by Mrs. and going back to recess. The first Junie B. Jones book of the 2000s is Junie B. Jones Has a Peep in Her Pocket. This was released on May 23rd, 2000. The school year's almost over and the kids are going to a farm about it. Junie B. is not looking forward to the class trip to the farm. There are ponies there, which we already know can stomple you to the ground and kill you to death, and also roosters can peck your head into a nub. Her mother is no help when she starts talking about her Uncle Billy's farm, who for the most part had gentle animals, but also a mean old rooster. Before the farm trip, the kids do an assignment where they draw what they want to see at the farm. Lucille draws a flamingo, Polly Allen Puffer draws a catfish, and Junie B. Jones draws a rooster getting smushed by a tree. Fun little side note, Denise Brunkas's niece drew the pictures that the kids are holding. I love this art, it's so cute. Farm day arrives and Junie B. tries her best to pretend she's sick so she doesn't have to go. Even though she claims she's burning to a crinkle, Mother gets Junie B. dressed up in her farm clothes and sends her off onto the bus. Jim makes it worse on the bus by telling Junie B that farmers wear hats because all of them have nub hens. This leads Junie B to hide under her bus seat when they arrive at the farm. Mrs. gets her off the bus by inviting the Farmer Flores, onto the bus to offer Junie B a job. She will be his special farmhand for the day. The idea of getting to boss around the other kids in her class is what gets her off the bus. The kids see a pasture, a cow milking machine, goats, and a tractor. Lucille eats a stupid lunch and then they head to the hen house. Junie B is scared of the idea of seeing a rooster, so the boys in her class tease her. Farmer Flores understands why she's upset and lets her wait outside. The farmer then brings her a little tiny chick named Spike. Spike is fluffery, a softie, and light as feathers. Junie B puts the chick in her hat and in her pocket and decides she loves Spike. When Farmer Flores lets her know that Spike is actually a rooster, Junie B is really confused. She doesn't stop being afraid of roosters until Farmer Flores takes off his hat and reveals he does not have a nub for a head. On January 2nd, 2001, Junie B. Jones as Captain Field Day comes out. In this one, all of kindergarten is getting ready for a field day. Room 9 is gonna battle Room 8 in a few field day games. In class, Mrs. announces that the kids will pick slips to find out who's gonna be team captain. Unsurprisingly, Junie B pulls the captain slip. She's very excited about being captain and decides it makes her a superhero who is the boss of everybody. Mrs. gently reminds her that a captain just supports the team, but she still gives Junie B a little towel cape to wear. At field day, we see a few familiar faces. We have new Thelma, who is Ricardo's new girlfriend, and regular Warren. He used to be handsome Warren, but Junie B doesn't have a crush on him anymore, so he's just regular Warren now. New Thelma is team captain for room 8, so her and Junie B shake hands and the field day begins. First up is the relay race. Junie B's attempt to be heroic backfires when her shoe flings off her foot and she blows the whole race for everybody. Instead of continuing with the race when she lost her shoe, she ran back to go get it. She was trying to go so fast because Crybaby William was concerned about participating in the race, so Junie B tries to run as as fast as she can, so William just has to walk. Anyway, the whole class is mad at her, and then Mrs. tells them that wins or losses don't really matter, and they kind of like halfway forgive her. We meet Strong Frankie at the softball toss. He's the strongest boy in kindergarten, and he throws the softball further than everyone. He also wins the tug of war for his team. The skipping race is yet another fail for room 9. By the time the kids get to the pull-up bar, everyone's so beaten down that nobody even wants to try. Except Crybaby William. William crushes the competition by doing 11 pull-ups, which is 4 more than Strong Frankie could even do. That single victory by Crybaby William earns him the towel cape from Junie B, and he is now the hero of the class. Junie B. Jones is a graduation girl. It comes out on May 8th, 2001. This is the last one of the kindergarten series. We start out at Junie B's 6th birthday. Cake, ice cream, and 5 presents make it a perfect day until Mother reminds Junie B of her upcoming graduation from room 9. Polly Allen Puffer did warn her that everyone in 1st grade will be weirdo strangers after all. Mother comforts Junie B and lets her know that she'll know a bunch of kids in her class and she can play with her friends at recess still. At school, Mrs. explains about the graduation ceremony. To make it more special, they'll write invitations to their family with a handwritten poem. The whole class works on the poem together, and Junie B gets sent to the principal's office after adding "your feet smell like stink" to the end of the poem. Principal and Junie B have a heartwarming conversation. They talk about how far she's come, but she still needs to respect her teachers. When Junie B gets back to class, all the kids are receiving their caps and gowns. They are pristine white gowns. I don't know why they would do this for kindergartners. Junie B ignores all the warnings to leave her gown in the box. At home, she shows it off for her parents until they have her put it away and they put it on top of the fridge for safekeeping. However, Junie B cons Grandpa into giving her the box with some unintentional help from Ollie. After successfully obtaining the cap and gown, she puts on a show for all of her plushies. She twirls and dances until she's pooped and tired. Her and her plushies are thirsty and want a glass of grape juice, so she gets some and, of course, gets it on her graduation gown. She panics and tries to get the stain off with an eraser, a white crayon, and her dad's new whitening toothpaste. It doesn't work, so inspired by Ollie's polka dot shirt, she grabs her markers and draws all over the gown to make the stain fit in. Nobody finds out about the gown until graduation. Junie B's polka dotty gown is revealed to the class when Grace takes it out of the box. At first, they tease her and make her cry, but after Mrs. brings Junie B out into the hallway for a minute and they come back, it turns out all the kids draw with markers on their gowns so Junie B will fit in. Very cute ending, very wholesome. Junie B starts 1st grade on November 6th, 2001. This is Junie B, 1st grader at last. From here on out, Junie B doesn't give her typical "the B stands for Beatrice" line in the beginning of books. Now they start with her 1st grade journal. She tells us about her muscular, mustached teacher, Mr. Scary, and explains she now sits next to May. I'm not happy about May showing up. You'll find that May is a blabbermouth and a tattletale. We immediately find out May is annoying when she calls Junie B Junie Jones and sends Junie B into a tailspin. On the first day of 1st grade, Junie B has to get carried in her classroom by her dad, and Lucille and Grace both let her down. Lucille has 2 new friends, and they're Camille and Chenille, and they're twins. Lucille says her and Junie B can still be friends, just not on a regular basis. Grace has a new bus friend named Bobby Jean Piper, and we never see Grace again for the rest of the series. Thankfully, on the bus, Junie B befriends Herb, who will be her new best friend. The next day at school, we meet a couple more of Junie B's classmates. We meet Lenny and Jose. They do an assignment where Mr. Scary writes a bunch of words on the board, and the kids have to draw a picture based on one of the words. Junie B is unable to read the words on the board and draws a chicken going cluck instead of a clock. This leads to Junie B being sent to take an eye exam where she finds out she needs glasses. After receiving the glasses, Junie B does not want to wear them in class. She hides them until show and tell when it's her turn to go. Before her turn, May brags about her excellent kindergarten report card, and Lenny shows off his hair gel that makes his hair spikish and stickish. When it's Junie B's turn, she reveals her glasses to the class. Herb runs right up to Junie B and tests out her glasses. They make his eyes go funny, so he decides that Junie B must have some very special eyes eyes to see out of those things. This makes Junie B feel better about her glasses, and suddenly she's the coolest girl in class. In 2002, we get Junie B, first grader, boss of lunch. This one starts with Junie B being obsessed with her bird-themed lunchbox. She can't stop sneaking peeks at it under her desk at school. When Tattletale May rats her out, Junie B comes up with an excuse that she was just grabbing a napkin to clean off Mr. Scary's shoe. The lunchbox becomes the center of attention in class as Junie B proudly points out all of the birdlets on it. There's owlets, eaglets, ducklets, and chicklets. May is rude about it, of course, and asks who would want to drink out of a stinky, pooey bird's nest thermos. Lunchtime comes along and we learn Junie B and Sheldon are the only ones who bring their lunch. Sheldon has allergies, so he has to eat food from nature. The rest of the kids get hoagies from the kitchen. When Herb shares half of his lunch cookie, Junie B discovers that Mrs. Gutzman isn't just a snack lady, but a full-on lunch lady. Junie B runs straight to the kitchen to interrogate Mrs. Gutzman about why first graders don't get cookies for the classroom. Mr. Scary retrieves Junie B, but she leaves with an excellent opportunity. Mrs. Gutzman offers her a job. The next day, Junie B will work in the kitchen to help Mrs. Gutzman with lunch. She receives plastic gloves to practice wearing at home. She uses them to manhandle the food in the fridge and then eventually dump creamed corn on Ollie's head. After sufficient practice, Junie B starts her job at 10 a.m. the next day. She transforms into a real professional lunch maker with her apron and hairnet. She learns her jobs will be napkin stacking, counter wiping, and greeting kids as they come in. When Junie B shows off how she's a professional lunch maker to her classmates, she yells at May that she's keeping germs and hair out of the tuna noodle stinkle. The kitchen clears out upon hearing what is for lunch, so Junie B is relieved of her duties. The kids are mad at her for a couple days until Mrs. Gutzman brings cookies for all the kids. She asks Junie B to help her pass them out, and she tells the class that Junie B is the one to thank. Junie B, after all, was the one who reminded Mrs. Gutzman to come pay their class a visit in the first place. October 2002, we get Toothless Wonder. Junie B is the first in her class with a wiggly top tooth. Mr. Scary pins a shiny star on her shirt after Junie B insists she deserves a prize in honor of being the first. A guest comes in to teach the class about recycling, and all the kids think it's super cool. Junie B's friends also think it's cool that Junie B is gonna lose a tooth, but Sheldon kills all the good energy when he tells Junie B about his toothless Uncle Lou. Uncle Lou never brushed and flossed for his whole life. Now all he has is one yellow tooth that can still bite an apple. Learning about Uncle Lou scares Junie B, and she now believes when she loses her tooth, her classmates will laugh at her and throw fruit. At home, Junie B decides that she'll keep her tooth from falling out by not wiggling it. Grandpa Miller innocently goes to check to see if it still feels wiggly and accidentally yoinks her tooth right out of her mouth. Junie B panics and runs through the house calling for 911. She's horrified seeing her own blood in the spit cup, and she hates how she looks. After enough encouragement from Grandpa, Junie B decides she looks fascinating. Junie B's family throw her a tooth celebration. Grandma Miller brings a cake with a smiley face on it that is missing a tooth. When her parents shoot down the idea of bringing the tooth to show and tell, she decides she'll just bring her spit cup instead. Before bed, her parents encourage her to put her tooth under the pillow for the tooth fairy, but this scares Junie B because she knows things about the tooth fairy. She found out that the tooth fairy is actually a tooth witch from Polly Allen Puffer. She comes into your room, takes your teeth, and bites them like a little tooth apple. This makes more sense to Junie B than the tooth fairy just coming to buy her teeth for no reason. She doesn't like the idea of her teeth just being thrown out. Her parents don't offer Junie B a good enough explanation on what the tooth fairy actually does with the teeth, so Junie B refuses to put her tooth under the pillow for 2 nights. At lunch on Monday, the kids discuss what the tooth fairy does with the teeth. Lucille finally suggests that the tooth fairy might just be a collector, because Lucille's Nana has lots of collectibles that she's paid a lot of good money for. This answer is satisfying enough for Junie B to finally put her tooth under the pillow. The next morning, there is cold hard cash under Junie B's pillow. On the same morning, Ollie's first tooth comes in. Junie B is thrilled about this because it means the tooth fairy recycles just like how she she learned in class. May 2003, we get cheater pans. On Monday morning, Junie B doesn't have her weekend homework assignment done. In class, May brags about how her homework is always A+, so when she gets up to deliver the attendance sheet to the office, Junie B copies May's homework assignment. This plan quickly backfires when the kids have to start sharing what they wrote. Lucille describes her fancy salon day with Richie Nana. May talks about going to a pottery class to make a pot and doing ballet. Junie B tries to wing it without reading her paper, but Mr. Scary quickly catches on to what happened. Mr. Scary pulls Junie B aside and explains how bad cheating is. He tells her that she broke his trust and has to bring a note home to her parents. At home, she dramatically confesses that she did something wrong to her parents, gives them the note, and runs to hide in her closet. After her parents extract her, they give her the same talk as Mr. Scary. Cheating is bad, don't do it. The next day, the kids are writing sing canes in class. May insists that Mr. Scary said tin cans, but it is not. It was sin canes. May is also supposed to be working with the rest of her table, but she ends up writing a poem on her own. Junie B and her friends write one about being friends, and they get an A+. The victory is short-lived when it's time for a spelling test. Junie B doesn't know how to spell one of the words, and Herb helps her cheat off of his paper. They don't get caught, but neither of them can sleep that night. They feel like a cheater, which makes you feel like a nasty, rotten ratty pants. The next day at school, they confess what happened to Mr. Scary. While they both get zeros for the test, they gain Mr. Scary's trust. Junie B later receives her own special sing cane from Mr. Scary for being honest. On September 23rd, 2003, we get One Man Band. The kickball tournament is coming up at school. Junie B tries to practice, but when she launches her kickball out of the yard, she can only practice by kicking a watering can. Unfortunately, the can is full of water and she seriously injures her piggy toe. She hurts it further at school by dropping a dictionary directly on it. Sheldon also hurts himself by slamming his forehead on a desk when he falls out of his chair. With both Junie B and Sheldon sidelined for the kickball tournament, Mr. Scary allows them to choose something else to do. Sheldon wants to do a halftime show, and Junie B very reluctantly agrees. Junie B isn't sure what to do in the show until Dad gives her a "when life gives you lemons" pep talk and juggles. She becomes determined to successfully juggle in the halftime show. Despite the book her dad gives her, she doesn't succeed and she still can't juggle the day of the tournament. On the day of the tournament, Junie B and Sheldon are dressed like nitwits, with Junie B wearing a hat made out of an oatmeal box. During halftime, Sheldon is hit with extreme stage fright and ends up running off the field. Junie B tries hitting the cymbals and singing a song to get the favor of the crowd, but they just laugh at her and throw biscuits. In a moment of brilliance, Junie B picks up the biscuits to throw them back, but she pauses and successfully juggles. The crowd goes wild and Room 1 wins the tournament. They get a celebration party in class and Mother calls Junie B a star. Shipwrecked comes out in May 2004. This one starts with Roger throwing up in class. Junie B can't resist looking at the splatto and gets to see Gus Filoni clean it up with that magic vomit powder. Sheldon takes this harder than the rest of the kids and puts a paper bag on his head. He explains that germs shoot through the air and into your nose nostrils. The whole class pinches their nose to avoid being contaminated until lunch, where they realize they can't eat an apple with their noses pinched. Mrs. Weller, the nurse, teaches the class about germs. She tells them that holding your nose does nothing because you're still breathing through your mouth. She also tells Sheldon that there's probably thousands of germs in the paper bag with him, so he freaks out and washes himself down in the classroom sink. After all the virus nonsense, Mr. Scary announces that they're going to be doing a Columbus Day play. Whichever kid brings in the most Columbus facts will get to pick their part first. Junie B doesn't want to do this play at first, but when her mother reminds her about the idea of being a star, Junie B takes it extremely seriously. Both Junie B and Jose bring in 18 facts, earning them the first choices of parts. Jose picks Columbus, and Junie B decides on the Pinta because it's the fastest ship, which makes it the winner ship, which makes it the star ship. May has to pick last because all the facts she brought were about the Mayflower. She's left with the Santa Maria, but she's fine with it when she realizes that's the ship Columbus rode on. All the kids prepare for the play, and Junie B and May establish another rivalry. After they make their ships, they keep racing them. What could possibly go wrong? A lot. At the show, Sheldon forgets a line because Roger Mr. Sneezes. Then Junie B and May get into a ship slamming competition. They nearly ruin the show, but Jose saves the day. Junie B writes an apology to her class about the play and draws the cutest little mouse drawing I have ever seen. She suggests that they should do a mouse play next time, which is why she drew the mouse, but it's extremely cute. I love it. Boo and I Mean It comes out August 2004. This is the Halloween episode. Halloween is just around the corner and Junie B is scared. To make it worse, Dad is away doing job interviews. Job interviews are when you wear a tie, put on a suit, and go beg somebody for a job. What's got Junie B the most worked up is the 5 scary secrets that Polly Allen Puffer told her about Halloween. They are: 1. Real monsters and witches go trick-or-treating on Halloween. 2. Do not carve pointy, sharp teeth in your pumpkin, or else it will roll into your room while you're sleeping and eat your feet. 3. Bats like to land on your head and live in your hair. 4. Black witch cats can claw you into shreddle. 5. Candy corn isn't really corn. Tattletale May overhears Junie B telling Mr. Scary that she's afraid of Halloween. May proceeds to tell the entire class. Now Junie B is scared and embarrassed. At home that day, Junie B is being babysat by Grandma Miller. She's still worked up about Halloween. She tells Grandma not to go outside on Halloween because her hair is perfect for bats to land in. Baby Ollie is unfazed by this holiday, toddling around and repeating his favorite word, moo. Junie B tries to resist going out to get a costume when her mom comes home, but she changes her tune after remembering Squirty the clown. Squirty was a terrible circus clown who chased Grandma Miller around with a seltzer bottle. Because Squirty was so scary, he probably could scare any witch or monster. So Junie B decides she will be him for Halloween. Mother takes Junie B to the Halloween store, which is full of skeletons and devils. Junie B is disappointed that there's no official Squirty the Clown costume and she has to DIY all the parts. Although the parts aren't exact, Junie B is satisfied with the costume. It's got a big red nose, big pants with suspenders, and clown hair. The outfit is complete when Mother adds the makeup. On Halloween, Junie B tests scaring her grandma with her costume. Instead of scaring her grandma with a seltzer bottle, she scares her with a big scream, making Junie B Screamy the Clown. Ollie wears a little cow costume and they head off to trick-or-treat. It's a night of triumphs and disappointments. Junie B gets apples, trail mix, and pencils. She tries to scare a Cinderella and a fairy godmother who aren't scared at all. They mishear Junie B and think she said she was Creamy the Clown. When a skeleton guy and a witch approach, Junie B dives behind a bush to get away from them. Ollie says moo before the skeleton and the witch leave, so Junie B declares a cow braver than a clown. After trick-or-treating, Junie B comes home and shows off all her candy to her plushies. She tapes a peanut to fill up Johnny Bob's snout, which is so cute. She gets extremely tired and falls asleep in her clown makeup. That night, Dad gets home from his trip, and when he goes in to check on Junie B, he's terrified by the scary little clown girl that is in her bed. Junie B is satisfied with scaring her dad because it means she finally scared somebody. The Christmas episode comes out in September 2005. This one is Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, P.S. So Does May. I don't want to talk about this one. I don't like the Christmas episode. I'm a hater. Anyway, it's the Christmas episode. Room 1 is getting ready for winter break and Junie B is looking forward to getting away from Blabbermouth May. May sees Junie B write the word Blabbermouth in her notebook, so May naturally tries to rip the page out. They get into a tussle and May's sweater sleeve is stretched out so long that it hits the floor. Mr. Scary gives them a stern warning that if they don't get along, there will be no holiday sing-along. May is also not allowed to tattle. Mr. Toot, the music teacher, brings a box of elf costumes for the sing-along. Most of the kids love the costumes except for Lucille, who is very rich. They practice singing Jingle Bells, and Junie B sings the classic Batman lyrics instead. May can't tattle, but she threatens Junie B that if she does that during the real show, she'll tattle anyway. At the show, Junie B sings new lyrics about May. May tattles, and they both get notes sent home. The May and Junie B fighting does not stop stop here. It's time for Secret Santa. Of course, Junie B draws May's name in the Secret Santa. She's very unhappy about it. They head to the media center to check out the holiday gift shop where they'll buy their Secret Santa items. Here, Junie B discovers the Squeeze-A-Burp thanks to Lucille. It's just a whoopee cushion that burps instead. Junie B wants to buy it but can't because she doesn't have enough money to get it, plus the gifts for her family. Junie B cons Grandpa Miller out of $5, but it's still not enough to cover the Squeeze-A-Burp, the family gifts, and a gift for May. When she can't get enough money, Junie B decides on a lump of coal from Dad's grill is exactly what May deserves. At the holiday party, Junie B prepares to give May the coal. While waiting, May gushes about the Secret Santa being like having a best friend, so Junie B feels bad. Since May has no friends, she decides to give May the Squeeze-A-Burp instead. May becomes popular for the day and finally remembers Junie B's B for the first time. Junie B gets crayons, and it's a nice holiday ending. This one is such a slog. It's such a slog. Aloha comes in May 2006. This is a vacation episode. Junie B's dad has an interview in Hawaii, so she's gonna have a week off to go with him. Mr. Scary gives Junie B a photojournal and a camera to document the trip to show the class when she gets back. She also needs to keep up with her first grade journal during her trip. At the airport, Junie B's new hula Barbie, Dolores, is fighting with Philip Johnny Bob in her backpack. She makes voices for Philip Johnny Bob while he goes through the x-ray scanner, earning them a wanding down by TSA. Once they get on the plane, Junie B is extremely restless and bothers two grouchy ladies in front of and behind her. When it's time to take a picture with the camera on the plane, the two grump heads get in the photo. Once they land in Hawaii, Junie B collapses on the softy carpet and falls asleep. The next few days are nice, mild vacation adventures. Junie B gets a parrot swim ring that she names Squeezer. He's named that way because he's too small for Junie B and almost cuts her insides in half when she jumps into the pool. She won't let her mom cut Squeezer off when she finds out it's too tight, so they just let the air out and Junie B wears Squeezer for several days. Junie B also snorkels, and on the last day they go on a nature hike. On the hike, Mother pins flowers to Junie B's hair. A bird gets tangled in the mess of flowers and needs to be rescued by tour guide Donald. Squeezer finally comes off in the bath after the nature hike, and Junie B gets a lot of good photos for her class. They go home. February 2007, we get the Easter episode, Dumb Bunny. In class, Lucille announces there'll be an extravagant Easter egg hunt at her very rich mansion. They'll have a picnic, meet the Easter Bunny, and hunt for eggs. There's also a golden egg prize in the hunt. Whoever gets it will get to hang out with Lucille and swim in her heated indoor swimming pool. After hearing this, Sheldon decides he has a crush on Lucille and calls her a springy little lamb. Junie B wants to find that golden egg too. Her and Philip Johnny Bob pick out good egg hunting clothes, which are easy to run in, not a dress because you might get into a scuffle, and big pockets to carry the eggs. After getting dressed in lavender overalls, Junie B heads to Lucille's house. At the picnic, May and Sheldon argue about being Lucille's best friend. Lucille and Sheldon are close in this one, so May's antics don't work. After being welcomed, the kids are served hot dogs and hamburgers. It's revealed here that Nana almost ruined the day by hiring a low-quality Easter bunny. After lunch, the whole party plays a game where you pick a jelly bean out of a bag. You need to reach your hand in and somehow extract the one purple bean that's in the bag. Well, what do you know? Junie B gets the purple bean. She wins a job. She has to be the Easter Bunny. She hates this until she realizes she'll get to work with a photographer and get her picture taken, so she goes with it. They establish that the suit is too big and Junie B falls over in it a lot. During the egg hunt, May swipes all the eggs that Sheldon finds. Junie B falls on the ground and sees the golden egg, causing her to get dogpiled on by the rest of the kids. Junie B gives up the golden egg for Sheldon because him and Lucille want to hang out. This makes Lucille and Sheldon very happy, and they hug Junie B at school the next day. Holiday ones are so hard to read. The final book in the Junie B. Jones series is Turkeys We Have Loved and Eaten. This came out in August 2012, and it's the last Junie B. Jones book that Barbara Park wrote before she died. This is the Thanksgiving episode. Room 1 is writing a thankful list for a thankful contest at their school. Whoever wins the thankful contest will receive a pumpkin pie from Mrs. Gutzman. I just really can't wrap my mind around how you judge a thankful list. Like, how do you win a thankful contest? Anyway, while making Making the list, all the kids suggest food items until Mr. Scary asks them to be thankful for better stuff like freedom. To fill the list out more, Mr. Scary sends the kids home with thankful bags. The kids have to fill these bags with something they're thankful for and then show it off to the class. On the day of that show and tell, Lucille brings a big bag of money and pours it all over the floor because she is rich. Junie B and May both bring the same stuffed elephant. May's, by the way, is Police Sergeant Chuck. Of course, her plushie is a cop. Their elephants fight and the class adds a bunch more stuff to their thankful list. Room 1 ends up winning the thankful contest and the pumpkin pie is better than they expected. The room has a potluck where Lucille's rich Nana brings an entire turkey. May and Junie B decide to be friends for the day, and that's it. I don't like May and Junie B antics, and these holiday episodes have just been like May and Junie B antics. I don't know. Those were all the main series books, but they're definitely not the only books there are for Junie B. One that I had as a kid was Top Secret Personal Beeswax, a journal by Junie B and me. This one came out in February 2003. It's not a typical Junie B. Jones book. It's a journal for the reader to fill out with Junie B. This is intended to write in and fill it out like a diary and do all the like little challenges in it. The book starts with an all about me section where you can write down your details and draw a picture of yourself. I love this portrait of Junie B. It's so cute. Next, there's a section to write about your family where we discover mother's name is Susan. Look at Grandma Miller's portrait. After that, there's a few pages to talk about your house and your room, and also a place to dream about being the boss of your house. There's a spot to talk about your friends and a Mad Libs sort of game as well. We get into talking about school after that, then pets, and then favorites and unfavorites. There's a blank recipe card and a place to draw a food. There's a section about feelings, a genie section, and at the very end, a survey. This book came with some really cute stickers, and I used to love this thing. It was so fun to fill out a book. In 2009, there was Junie B Essential Survival Guide to School. This one was a lot harder for me to track down because there's a play of the same name, but the book appears to be really similar to the Personal Beeswax book. It looks like it has advice for school from Junie B and then places that you can write in the book as well. Here are some screenshots that I was able to get of it from the Junie B Jones Facebook and a couple people's lovely Poshmark ads. In 2011, a puzzle book came out. This was Junie B, These Puzzles Hurt My Brain book. Then in December 2012, there was a Junie B, My Valentine book. It's full of Valentines you can give to your friends and family. In 2012, for the 20th anniversary of The Stupid Smelly Bus, the book was re-released in full color. In 2019, there was also a deluxe holiday edition released of Junie B First Grader Jingle Bells. Finally, on April 29th, 2025, we got the graphic novel for Stupid Smelly Bus. This is Barbara Park's Junie B. Jones and the Stupid Smelly Bus, the graphic novel, adapted from Barbara Park by Honey Beam and Colleen Venable. I think this was a super cute adaptation. It follows the events of the original pretty exactly, but there's a couple of modern updates. Junie B gets talked to about screen time in the beginning of this one, and her devil horn hat is swapped for a shark hat. The art is super cute, and I really recommend getting this. It is a treat to look at. I also want to note here that Junie B got a lot of pushback from parents and teachers. Some think Junie B encourages poor social values, disrespect for parents and teachers, and certain vocabulary that she uses is inappropriate. The books are told from Junie B's perspective, so there are grammatical errors all over the place. This is a very funny statistic, but in 2004, Barbara Park was the 6th most challenged author in the US. The Junie B. Jones series came in number 71 on the American Library Association's list of the top 100 banned or challenged books from 2000 to 2009. Barbara Park did respond to this. She said, Junie B is not a role model. She's pretend. I think it's a great response to that. One of the biggest promotions for the Junie B books was the stupid Smelly Bus tour. There wasn't really a straightforward place I could find information on this. I kind of just pieced together the best timeline I could using the Wayback Machine and Facebook. From 2003 to 2014, actors playing Junie B and Mr. Wu would travel the country in a pink patterned bus. They would stop at schools and bookstores and put on a little show. They'd perform skits, and Junie B would show off items in her big pink hunk of junk trunk. Kids would meet the characters, buy books, and participate in giveaways. This book tour would happen every year, eventually hitting hundreds of cities. Over the course of its run, there were 7 different Junie Bs and Mr. Wus. The actors for this tour would sometimes go on the news to promote it, and I find it upsetting.
Books and it really comes to life and it's so much fun.
Either way, ultimately, I think it's a brilliant way to bring the books to life. And if you ever went to one of these, please tell me. I want to hear about it. There are quite a few Junie B. Jones plays. Barbara Park would actually only allow theatrical adaptations of Junie B because she wanted to be involved every step of the way, and theater was all she felt like she had time for. The most well-known adaptation comes from Marcy Heisler and Zena Goldrich. It's called Junie B. Jones the Musical. It mashes up the first 3 first grader books, At Last, Boss of Lunch, and One Man Band. It's a faithful retelling with catchy songs sticking pretty close to the source material. I think it's a fun musical with really good songs, but my notes said, I think I'm a hater, that's what I think. So maybe I didn't like it that much. This musical also got a junior version, which is essentially the same but modified for big groups of young kids. Heisler and Goldrich would also create Junie B's Essential Survival Guide to School, which has great music. There's a junior version for that one as well. Allison Gregory created 3 different play adaptations. Junie B. Jones Is Not a Crook mashes up the events of Not a Crook and Handsome Warren with a little sprinkling of Flower Girl. The events of each book are happening at the same time. The only bit of Flower Girl that was in there was the Junie B and Ricardo breakup, but it's faithful to the other 2 books. Junie B. First Grader, Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, P.S. So Does May mashes up Shipwrecked and Jingle Bells with a tiny sprinkling of Dumb Bunny. The events of the book occur one after another, and it's way too May heavy for my taste. It lays out a ton of exposition in the beginning too, and it makes it a slog. It's fine though, I suppose. Toothless Wonder was the one I wasn't able to find a full performance of, but from what I can gather, it's a mixture of Toothless Wonder and Meanie Jim's Birthday. It's got a tooth witch scene, so I do really want to see it. There was another musical of A Little Monkey Business by Joan Cushing. I couldn't find much on this one either, but it has 10 songs, and the songs all appear to be titled after events in the one book, so I don't know if it's a mashup or not. I'm sure there was tons of DIY Junie B shows that people did at schools, so if you did one, let me know. I want to hear about it. I think I lost my mind researching the Junie B. Jones websites. The earliest Junie B. site I found was a capture from 2000. This is a Junie B. Jones mini website hosted on the Random House website. The front page is really cute and shows a stupid Smelly Bus era photo of Junie B. She's surrounded by a few sections that you can navigate to. In 2002, this graphic changes to Junie B. in the first grade. The landing page, as well as the rest of the website, gets completely redesigned by December 2003. The original letter from Junie, which they forgot the B in, is a cute letter to the visitors of the site that keeps you updated on all the events from the first book to Handsome Warren. Junie B signs her name at the end of this, and I think it's the cutest thing in the world. I love the pink color of the UI on this one, but by 2004, it's completely different. It's redesigned, and it's essentially Junie B laying out all the cool stuff on the website. There's also a little picture of Herb and Tickle. This section does not get updated after that. The next section is books, and it's what it says on the tin. It lays out all the books. This is updated throughout the years, and in the 2000 redesign, this page is changed a little bit. The activity section I'm gonna loop back to later, but it's just a little landing page that hosts all the printables. These are updated every so often, which ended up being a huge pain. In 2001, you could download a Junie B. Jones screensaver from this site. You can still download it from archive, but my computer was scared of of it, so I didn't open it. By 2002, we have a new set of printable activities and the first online game, the Junie B. Jones coloring book. I tested this game out in the new site later on. In 2003, the page is redesigned and a few more activities were added. By 2011, there's a new Junie B's Valentine's mix-up game. You can also send an Aloha e-card, and you need to see this. It speaks for itself. The About the Author section is a bio of Barbara Park. She answers some questions asked by the readers here. In the 2003 redesign, the content of this page doesn't change, just the art on it. There's a trivia quiz section where you can do a quiz, which I totally aced. The page where you find out how you did is broken though, so I am just guessing. Junie's Favorites is a place for other Random House books to be promoted. If you click on one of these, it brings you to this kids section on Random House, which I thought was pretty neat to see. The Teacher's Corner is a place to get teaching resources. You can get teacher's guides here as well as related activities. The teacher's guides are pretty cool. It describes how to lead your class in activities every step of the way reading the books. It seems like it got updated until the 2002-2003 school year for this website. There were teaching guides and classroom activities for all the way up until number 21, Cheater Pants. The teaching resources were definitely not scrapped though, and there are a lot on the new website. The website gets a complete new design and domain in 2012. Everything has been moved to juniebjones.com. The landing page is an interactive classroom with Junie B front and center to give updates on the website. There are a few rotating advertisements on the chalkboard and a section for haha funny jokes. I'm just gonna start with the haha funny jokes because these are incredible. Where does the napkin go to the bathroom? In the trash. What do you call a light bulb that has a name? Light Bob. There was a contest called You Got to Be Joking where kids would submit their jokes for a book prize, so I think that's where these came from. On the characters tab, we can meet all the main characters from mostly the first grade era. Meanie Jim is here though. There's also a cute little picture that Junie B drew of Gladys Gutzman here. I love this. You can hover over the images and get a little information on whatever character. The author and illustrator pages are quite different. Denise Brunkis's has some very sparse information with a bunch of pictures. It reads kind of like a journal. Barbara Park's is really long and has pretty much all of the author stuff from the last site smushed on the page. You can read a lot here and see a few pictures. The events tab lists all the tour dates for just the 2012 Stupid Smelly Bus tour. This page never gets updated for future events until its removal in the website that exists for Junie B now. This remained up until 2023. The Teacher's Corner gets changed to a Teacher's tab. You can check out the other books and sign up for an electronic newsletter. There's also an educational planner you can get for teaching Junie B books. Each Junie B book has an educator guide and activity sheets. Back on the main website, you can find the parents page pop up in 2013. It's a page for the parents and kids to sign up for a newsletter for some printable activities and news. Here's some sample newsletters because I was not able to sign up for this. There's also a scientific article about linguistics for parents and teachers who are concerned about Junie B's bad grammar. The entire site gets rebranded in 2015 to the polka dot style along with the rebranding of the books. All the art of the books that I've shown so far has been the original covers, but in this 2015 rebrand, everything got this polka dotty theme. Most importantly, we must talk about the games page. I'm gonna pull these from a snapshot in 2015 because at this point all the games are there. We're gonna go oldest to newest here. Junie B's coloring book and Junie B's Valentine mix-up are both games from the original site. The coloring book is really just what it says on the tin. It's a coloring game with 3 coloring pages available to color. One is of Junie B and Tickle from Captain Field Day, and another is Junie B in her graduation gown. The one I did was from Peep in Her Pocket. Next, Valentine Mix-Up is a matching game where you reveal a Valentine's Day message under some candy hearts. The Valentine under the hearts will have a few different messages. After you beat the game one time, you can access the Send to a Friend page where you can send an e-Valentine choosing from all the set messages of the game. There are 5 of them. Junie B's Closet is a Junie B dress-up game. There's not a lot of options for this, and the art of Junie B kind of creeps me out. Not a lot of the clothes match either. If you click mix up, it will randomize from the list. Once you choose an outfit, you can animate Junie B with a few also kind of scary animations. Each time you click animate, it will give you a new book quote. You can save your settings and send her to a friend. Unfortunately, Photo Fun didn't work, and I couldn't find any recordings of people playing this one. Food Fight also didn't work, but there was a screen capture of it on the Junie B Jones Facebook page. It looks like you just have to splat the kids without hitting any grown-ups. I kind of like the style of this. Hide and seek turkey chase also did not work. What did work was the biggest game of all, the search for handsome Warren. I managed to play this game for 15 minutes. It's a very basic side scroller with 3 levels. You control Junie B with the arrow keys and the space bar. You have to use the obstacles to collect a different item on each level, and there are a couple of special ability bonuses. On the first level, Junie B is collecting meatballs. The premise is she's collecting meatballs to give to handsome Warren to make her like him. This makes no sense at all considering the context of the book. The repetitive nature of this game drove me a little bit crazy. The background music repeats with a long break in between. The music loop just drops off for 25 seconds and then restarts.
Remember, look out for bonus items to help you collect more meatballs.
There's a kid reading off phrases during the whole game too. On the top of the screen, there's a progress bar to earn badges. The game taunts you with the idea that you can earn a special printable at the end for collecting all the badges, so I had to. I ended up screwing up on the meatball level on the first time, so I had to do it again. Anyway, at the end of each level, you give whatever item you are collecting to handsome Warren. He starts juggling what you give him, and he calls her,
Thanks, Junie. Meatballs are my favorite.
Junie B canonically would be pissed, and the whole point of the Handsome Warren book is people won't like you for the stuff you have. On the second level, you collect flowers. The kite item is very useful here, which flings Junie B into the sky for a little bit. I can't tell where Junie B's hitbox is, which made it really difficult to collect the high up stuff. It was also incredibly difficult to jump on the second level obstacles. The roller skate item is my favorite because of the way the animation moves with them on. The plunger makes you jump around a whole lot. The last level was such a slog, and if it weren't for the promise of getting a printable, I would have given up. On this one, you're collecting crowns, and it's got this repeating pattern of having to jump from a smaller object to a bigger one, and then jump back down to the smaller one to pick up the air crowns. It combines all the aspects of the game that make it difficult to play and nauseating to look at. The background is super busy on this level, which does not help. It's hard to jump onto a big object, and turning around makes the background click back and forth in a disorienting way, and you miss the crowns, and you have to do it all over again. It's a bad experience. I had to play this one singular level doing the same thing over and over for 5 minutes, but upon finishing the game, I believed I would have a sick-ass printable that would make the whole experience worth it. The faulty premise, the just Junie, the janky controls and disorienting artwork, the sheer amount of time you have to play to finish it. At least I'd get a sick printable, right? Here's what I got. Book plates. Ones you can get on the Junie B Jones Facebook page. You know I had to print it, but I wasn't happy about it. There's one more game that I found that features Junie B, but it's not on the website. This is a leapfrog leapster game called Top Secret Personal Beeswax. This is an educational game that combines a lot of the activities from the book that its name comes from. There's a few way more involved activities as well. There's word searches, a word jumble, a feeling section, a poetry section, and a journal section. The personal beeswax section looks like where all the features adapted from the book go. It appears you could make your own characters and put photos of them in the photo album section. If I had this game at the time, I would have eaten it up. The art for Junie B is super cute, and I really like the voice she has in this one.
It's for 2 friends to share.
Back to the websites though. The website as it stands today is a basic one-page site with mostly book advertisements. It's got one activity and a spot to sign up for the newsletter. No games. Nothing like that. Before we move on from the websites, I need to talk about the Junie B Jones Facebook. There's nothing crazy about it, but it's a nice little time capsule of old bus tour stops and occasional promotional material. They still post on there occasionally, but it's mostly Junie B quotes. activities. They would host sweepstakes and contests on the page occasionally, and they sometimes got some really questionable comments. Honestly, this is the main reason I wanted to talk about this. Let's talk about printable activities. I did a lot of them. I was on a mission. I became a digital explorer, scouring every capture of the Junie B websites for new activities. I know for sure that I missed a lot of them because some of the links were broken, and there could be a whole spring of Junie B printable activities that I completely missed because I swear making this video, every time I pulled a thread, it revealed a whole sweater of threads to pull. Anyway, back to the activities. There was a bunch of broken ones, and I still ended up with a monstrous 170-page document. I made a timeline of this. I'm not going to bog you down with the details, but if you're interested in the timeline of every Junie B activity that I could find, here you go. Here's my timeline. Feel free to pause and look at it. I did as many of these activities as I could. I did a whole lot of them on my tablet because I didn't want to print everything, but some of them did require printing. The ones that I didn't need to print fell into a few categories. There were puzzles like word searches and mazes. There was also coloring pages, which I used to imagine Junie B as if she was sponsored by Monster Energy. Finally, group activities. These were for engaging a class or group of kids. For the ones that needed to be printed, these were mostly cards and keepsakes. There were Valentines, Easter cards, and even a Halloween card. The other category was full-on crafts, where I had to construct something. Let's check out some of the printed ones, shall we? First, this Junie B paper doll. I just had to color this, cut it, and glue it to cardboard. I didn't have glue or cardboard, so I taped her to an index card and put her all together. She came out so cute, and in the end, I love her. I tried my hand at peep in your pocket, but I didn't have cotton balls or glue, so I just colored it in. Its wings are cut so you can have him chill out in your pocket or shirt. I made a huge bow by turning a patterned piece of paper into an accordion and then cut out this mask of Junie B. I made this Aloha themed card for my wife with this wonderful photo I had lying around. This is very cute. The Toothless Wonder fun pack gave me a door hanger and an envelope to cut out. I also cut out my book plates that I won for defeating Handsome Warren. After doing all of these activities, I felt like I deserved an award. So I cut out this Junie B diploma and awarded it to myself for working so hard. This was a long and lovely journey to put together. I had so much fun reading about Junie B, and I feel like something in me is healed after reading all of these. I super recommend going back and reading them if you haven't for a long time, and if you've never looked at them, do it. They're amazing for everybody. I had such a great time reading it. Also, I recommend the graphic novel. It's very cool and nice, and it's a good way to get back into the series. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for hanging in here through this journey, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!